So here are our notes. We're going to factor ax squared plus bx plus c. First, I want you to write a box and put ax squared, xx, and c. And then you'll do your magic x, which is multiplies to ac and adds to b. So we'll do our first question. So I'll do x squared plus 9x plus 20. All right. This lines up with ax squared plus bx plus c. Start with our box. And then do our x times to ac. Okay, so I'm going to try to get in the habit. We're going to put x squared in this first top box, x squared in this first top box, and then 20 in this bottom box down here. The number by itself goes on the bottom. What number is in front of x squared if it's not written? 1. There's always an invisible 1. That's what makes math hard, right? Invisible numbers. So there's a 1 in front of x squared. So we need to multiply a times c. So 1 times 20, and add to b, 9. You see how b lines up with the 9. A is 1, c is 20. And now we're working on that magic x that we just did. So what are two numbers that multiply to 20 and add to 9? So if you don't know, I want you to write your factors. So you always start with 1 and 20. Now I'll get a calculator. 1 and 20, then 20, we need to see what it is, and 2. 2 and 10. Then you'll try 3, 20 divided by 3, be a decimal. 20 divided by 4, 5. And the next number I try would be 5, so you can skip that one, because then that's your whole list. So 1 times 20 is 20, 2 times 10 is 20, 4 times 5 is 20. But which of these add to 9? 5 and 4, yeah. And it doesn't matter which one you put where. So you can put 4 here and then 5, or you can put 5 here and then 4. But you're going to take those two numbers that you found and put it in these two blank spaces. And you have to, if you come back up to the notes section, you have to put an X with that. So, anybody write it down yet? Which one did you put here? Good. It's okay if you put 4, that's not wrong. I just was trying to keep it, and you have to put an X with it. That's what this means, times X to those two numbers you find. Okay. So what's in common? Greatest common factor of 1x squared and 5x. What's in common with those two? They have an x What about 1x squared and 4x? Same thing. That will be very repetitive today. X and x will be pulled out. And then x times what gives you 5x? X times what gives you 5x? 5. Another way to think of that is the greatest common factor between 5 and 20. That's just a harder way of thinking of it. And then x times what gives you 4x? 4. So if you want to think of just the numbers, 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 1 is 5. And then to check, 4 times 5 does give you 20. And your answers are on the outside. So on the outside, 1x plus 4, because it's positive 4, so that's why I get the plus sign. And 1x plus 5. And you don't have to have those ones, they're invisible. It's not wrong if they're there. Oops, that's supposed to be erasing. You don't have to have them there. And that's your answer. There is a lot of different ways to teach how to factor. This is called reverse box method. And why I'm teaching you it this way is because this method works for 4 different types of questions. So instead of teaching you 4 different methods, I want to teach you one method that works all the time. It's a lot. It's a long process, but it'll work every single time. All right, let's do another one. All right, I'm going to repeat. You have it on your paper already. So if you don't want to write it again, you don't have to, but I don't have it on my paper. Question 2. We're going to do one more positive, and then I'll throw some negatives in, because that's when it gets hard, there's some negatives. So x squared plus 10x plus 20. Ax squared plus bx plus c. So x squared always goes in your top box, or n squared, whatever variable Delta Math throws at you. And then your constant, remember constant c is the one without variables. That goes in the last one. So we have to multiply a times c. C is 24, but a is 1. So 1 times 24 is 24. And b is 10. So you go ahead and try to think, what are 2 numbers that multiply to 24 and add to 10? 2? 2 and what? And 12? Okay. If I added those, what would I get? 2 plus 12? 14. We're trying to get to 10. So now we got to try 3. Eight, 9, 10, 11. Now we have to try 4. 6. You know, and you're just dividing this 24 divided by 4. If you want to know what he's doing on his calculator, is 6. And then just to complete this list, I would try 5, but you know your answer already. You're right. And I get a decimal. So that's why the list isn't 5. My next number I'm trying is 6, which is already up there. So out of these, they all multiply to 24. 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. But only 4 and 6 add to 10. So that's why those are going to be our two numbers. 4 and 6 add to 10. So when you go to fill this in your box, make sure you put a variable with it. These are going to be times by x. 4x. Oh, did you put 4 there? Okay, I'll put 4 at the top. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to stick with somebody writing it down. You just said you put 4 at the top, and I put 6 at the top again. You'll still get the same answer. It's okay if you put 4 down here. You'll still get the same answer. Your answer here would just be up here. All right. So x squared and 4x, what do they have in common? X. This gets very repetitive. X squared and 6x, what do they have in common? X. So 1x, 4x. So 1 times 4 gives me 4, and then this x comes from here. What times x gives me 6x? 6. So 6 times 4 is 24. So it's right. So your answers are the outside. We did all this work for these outside answers. So 1x and 6, and x and 4. And people will mess it up because they'll put it in delta math like this, 1x6, x4. But you have to have a sign in between. So this 6 is a positive 6. This 4 is a positive 4. So that's your answer. And again, you don't have to have a 1 in front of your variable. It's not wrong. It won't be counted as wrong. But I just like to x plus 4, x plus 6.
You follow the same steps as negative, right?
Yes, we follow the same steps as negative. Let's do a negative one. And then, how about we do 2 negative ones, and then we can just do our work. Hopefully we'll still have time to answer questions. I go to break. Do I need to go back? All right, let's do one with a negative. Three. Let's do n squared plus 3n minus 8. I just changed the variable to an n just because delta math will do that to you. So I want you not to get it wrong because you're putting an x instead of an n. Same thing. Man, sometimes my boxes look great. Other times my boxes look like my 2-year-old drew it. I'll take it. Okay, what goes in my first box up here? I changed it to N2. Yeah. And my last box, negative 18. Careful with your sign. This is why 3 is going to be harder, because you're throwing that negative in there. So 1ax squared, or n squared, plus bx plus c. So a times c is 1 times negative 18, so negative 18. And b is 3. So how tomorrow gets harder is that a is not going to be 1. So just to give you prepared for tomorrow. A is not going to be 1 tomorrow, but today we're going to keep a 1. Okay, then we're going to figure out 2 numbers that multiply to negative 18 and add to 3. If they are multiplying to negative 18, we're not going to add them, we're going to subtract them. 1 and 18. What's 18 divided by 2? 9. 18 divided by 3? That didn't sound confident, but yes. Yeah, it is 6. 6. 18 divided by 4? Decimal, throw that out. 18, oops, not 800. Divide by 5 is a decimal. The next number I tried would be 18 divided by 6. And I already have that up there, 6 and 3. So we need this to be a negative 18. So one of these has to be negative. So we're going to actually subtract these and see what has a difference of 3. So I always subtract the biggest minus the smallest because it's the easiest. What's 18 minus 1? 17. Let me write this out a little bit. I'm recording this so I can post it in case you guys want to go back and watch it or need help practice. You said 17. Well, it's 9 minus 2. 7. What's 6 minus 3? 3. So we want a difference of 3, so we have to use these last 2 numbers. 3 and 6. But one of those has to be negative. Since you want a positive 3, say it again. What's going to be negative? Yeah, the 3 is negative. If you want to add to a positive number, you want the bigger number to be positive. If you want to add to a negative number, you want the bigger number to be negative. So if you want to add to a positive, the bigger number has to be positive. We want to add to a 3, so that means our 6 has to be positive, which means the smaller number is negative. All right. So n squared and 6n. N squared and negative 3n. N times what gives me 6n? 6. And n times what gives me negative 3? Then negative 3. So negative 3 times 6 gives you negative 18, just to check it. Okay, so your answer is always on the outside when we factor, on the inside when you multiply. So n minus 3, n plus 6. All right, let's do one last one, and then that'll be it. 4 examples. I want to just make this middle number negative then. So you'll see one of each. This bothers me. Should it? But it does. That's 3, so this will be 4. So I'll go back to x's. X squared minus 2x. 63. What if it's a bigger number? X squared goes in the top box. Negative 63 goes in the bottom. Negative 63 is what we're multiplying to. 1 times negative 63. And then we have to add to negative 2. One and 63. It's not even, so 2 doesn't go into it. You get decimal. 3 and 21. I'm trying to speed this one up because I think you guys are ready to practice. 4 doesn't go into it. 5 doesn't go into it. 6 doesn't go into it. 7 and 9. 8 doesn't go into it. And then the next number I'm checking is 9. So you know your list is done. So I have the 3 sets here, which has a difference of 2. If I subtract them, I'll get 2. 63 minus 1 has a difference of 62. 21 minus 3 has a difference of, thank you. You did that quicker than I did. 9 minus 7, 2. 2. So these two have a difference of 2. 7 and 9. All right, now we are adding to a negative. If you're adding to a negative, you want the bigger number to be negative. So the 9 is negative. Yes. So I get negative 9x and positive 7x. And it doesn't matter where you put these. If you put negative 9x here, that's fine. If you put 7x here, that's fine. So x squared and negative 9x, x. X squared and 7x, x. What'd you say? 7, negative 9. And then if you want to check, 7 times negative 9 is negative 63. So you know your answers are right. All right. So that's the lesson for today. And then you can go do your Delta Math.